I'm 6 years old, I'm in kindergarten, and I'm playing by myself when I overhear a group of girls talking about their costumes for the upcoming classroom Halloween party. Now, kindergarten was usually a very boring, routine day, but for the party, everything was gonna be different. We were gonna get to eat candy, we were gonna watch It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and the best part is that we were gonna wear costumes for the whole day. Now, these girls, Amanda, Amber, and Ashley, were like the most popular girls in my kindergarten class. They were like pretty petite copies of each other that exclusively played together. They were a lot like the Kardashians of Johnson Elementary Memorial School. They had perfect hair, and it was always coiffed with like bows and butterfly clips, and I had really long, stringy hair that I would try on my own to pull up in a ponytail, but it didn't quite work. They would wear color-coordinated outfits that had dresses and matching tights, and I mostly wore one pair of stained magenta sweatpants. Yeah. I also had a fondness for temporary tattoos, and it wasn't uncommon for me to go to school with like a dolphin or a panda right on my face. So mostly they didn't really talk to me. I didn't exactly fit in, and like even by that age, I was bigger and taller and clumsier than all of the other kids in class. So on this particular day, they approached me, and I am panicked because these girls don't even know I exist most of the time. And Amanda walks up to me and, speaking on behalf of the entire group, says, "We're all gonna be princesses for Halloween. I'm gonna be a pink princess with a big poofy dress." And then Amber chimes in, "I'm gonna look just like Belle in the movie and have a yellow dress." And then Ashley says, "Well, I'm gonna be a fairy princess with glittery wings." And then Amanda looks at me, and in that tone of voice that only bratty little girls can pull off, says, "What are you gonna be for Halloween, Heather?" Now, at this point, I can feel the excitement building from my feet into my hands. And without hesitation, I say to them, "Princess! I'm gonna be a princess too." Yeah. This is it. This is my chance to get these girls to finally like me, and it's gonna be amazing. We're gonna eat lunch together. We're gonna play at recess. I'm gonna get invited to their houses. Their moms are gonna do my hair all fancy. This is the beginning of a new era for me. Because you see, like, the big difference between me and these girls is that their moms were 30 and married, and my mom was a single 22-year-old who was obsessed with Aerosmith and daytime TV. So I rush home after school, I nudge my mom awake from her after Donahue nap, and I tell her, "Halloween party's in 2 weeks, I'm gonna be a princess." And she mumbles something like, "Oh, that's nice, honey. Please be quiet." Rolls back over, right? So in my head, the deal is sealed. I'm gonna be a princess, and it's gonna be magical, right? So the days leading up to the party, these girls are telling me all of the details about their costumes. They're telling me about the lace and the gems, and they're gonna wear special shoes and gloves. Now, at this point, I hadn't actually seen my costume, but that did not stop me from telling them about how amazing it was. I just knew that my costume was gonna be the glitteriest, sparkliest, poofiest princess gown ever, okay? I had watched Cinderella at least 10 times. I wished on a star for a pretty dress, and that's pretty much how these things go, so it was in the bag. The night before the costume, I go home and I say to my mom, "Can I please try on my Halloween costume? I was dying to see it." Now she pauses a moment and gives me a kind of squinty-eyed look and says, yeah, just wait right here. I'll go grab it, right? So she rushes out the door, I plant myself on the couch, and I sit there waiting. And it's past my bedtime, but I just keep waiting, and anticipation is just sparkling in my eyes. You know, I'm thinking to myself, like, there's gonna be gloves, and there's gonna be a tiara, and possibly a scepter. There's gonna be all of the necessary accoutrements for a tiny monarch of my caliber. So she comes in and hands me a plastic convenience store bag and says nothing. So this is my moment. I'm gonna finally get to see my princess dress at last, right? So I reach my hand in the bag and I feel fleece. And I look inside the bag and I see a wadded up ball of purple and green fabric. Now, as I slowly pull out of the bag, it starts to unfurl itself, and now I can see it. A long purple tail. "This is a Barney costume." Yeah, my face gets hot, my tiny little heart is just beating out of my chest, all the air leaves my body. This is the opposite of a princess, and I'm completely crushed. So it's the morning of the party, and I wake up and I see that no mice have made me a replacement gown. And I'm stuck wearing this dinosaur monstrosity. And I have to tell you, this is the real deal, okay? This costume covers my hands, it covers my feet, it holds tight to my face like a snowsuit, and somehow doubles the size of my head and body. So I get into the classroom with my shoulders slumped and my legs feel like they're 100 pounds each as I make my way across the room. I feel completely exposed. I can't hide in this big purple target whatsoever. So I catch the glare of the Kardashians, and I see their expression reflecting back to me that I'm not of regal descent whatsoever. So they swarm me, and Amanda says, like it's leaving a bad taste in her mouth, "I thought you said you were gonna be a princess too." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm asking the same damn question." So I don't know what to tell her, and I'm nervous, and I'm unsure of myself, so I say, like, "This is what came out of the bag?" So as you can imagine, the rest of the day was a complete nightmare. The kids teased me. They would sing the Barney song at me excessively. Yeah, and then when I started to cry, they called me Heather Barney Baby. At this point, I wasn't even a fan of Barney, but by the end of the day, I downright loathed the man. So I get home, I'm emotionally exhausted, I'm tired, I just can't wait to rip this thing off my body and never think about it again. But my mother, she has a different plan. And she says to me, "It's gonna be all right. I've got a surprise for you. We're going out." You know, and I'm a little bit hesitant. This has been a horrible day, but like, how can I possibly say no to a potentially amazing surprise? So her and I, we pull up to the mall, and all I can see is a really long line with lots of other kids with costumes waiting with their parents. And this line is taking forever. It feels endless. And every time an adult walks past me, they stop and they say something like, "You're really gonna enjoy this." And I'm getting excited. I'm like, wow, maybe there's something with ice cream and like extra sprinkles waiting for me at the front of this damn line. So as we get closer, I see a big stage and bright lights. And perched in the center of this stage is full-size Barney. And before I can flee, we are at eye level. He is in my face, and his arms are open, and he's greeting me like I'm a distant cousin that he hasn't met before. He squishes me so tight in his big purple arms and spins me around so we can take in all of the grandeur of this costume. I'm getting the VIP treatment at the Barney meet and greet. This guy thinks that I'm his biggest fan. So I turn around, I look out over the crowd, and I can see just glowing faces at me. Like, people are clapping and they're smiling and their hearts are warming. They think that this is my dream coming true. But it was my goddamn nightmare. So we get home after all of this shenanigans, and I just emotionally eat my way through a bag of fun-sized Kit Kats. Try to pretend like the whole thing didn't happen. But once the dust had settled, in future years, my mom had learned her lesson to make me costumes. And the next year, she made me the sparkliest, glitteriest, poofiest angel costume in all of the first grade. Thanks.